Alright, it's now time for raising funds for World Domination, day number 137. So, here's the standard intro once again. No update on the red eviction situation, other than we're actually starting to get a bit closer now, less than a month away, to the next hearing date. Orthoplex 64, how's it going? So, as noted in previous streams, we'll be working toward the next release of the terminal block mining simulation game during the stream. As for progress update on the next video, today I edited some more scenes. They were complex scenes that took a bit of there's tons of detail in it. I guess it'll be, once I release it, it'll be obvious why it's taking so long. So going through the exact calculation of the percentage of the final edit time that's finished is 47% of the editing done. So I think I said before, last week I said maybe Monday or Tuesday, and it's now Monday. Now extrapolating on the delta from yesterday to today, I only got 5% done, so that would put it out 10 days. But I'm hoping to be done a bit faster than that, so I don't know, maybe I can I don't know, maybe a nice goal would be by Friday, so there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if I can get like at least 12% done today. That would be a decent goal by the end of the week, so I can stop working on that and get it released. So that's the next video. So as for the next release of the terminal block mining game, so a few days ago I decided like there's lots of optimizations I'd like to do. There was some I had in mind for a while, but of course it has to match with the profiling. And I decided that I'd kind of just declare victory arbitrarily and try to cram as many optimizations in as I can. And fortunately, I actually have found a decent number of optimizations. So I think so. The next plan will be so I'll probably make tonight the last night for doing continuing development changes on the game, because I tested it out on a couple of different machines, and it's actually decently fast. It's at least as fast as the previous version. And then so here's the plan. So tonight will be the last bit of performance work. Then I'll do, I guess, at least maybe one day of just playtesting. Just because maybe tomorrow. And then after that, I'll work on the official release of the next version, and then I will start pondering. Oh, I missed your chat. Just watching 1980. Hey friend, How's it going? Pondering or profiting? Ponder plus profiting. I think that's that'll be yeah. I've been laser focused for many days, so I think it'll make sense to have an official finish line, put it out there, and then be like, all right, I finished and completed it. It's assuming I don't find any bugs in the playtesting, it's super stable now, and it's pretty. I guess because you can, because it runs in the terminal, you can just change the size of the like you can make the small. Well, I should demo this. You can make the size smaller, so any performance improvement will be felt by anyone, because you can just make it a bigger map. Right, so we'll clone. Will you? Do you have a link for the game so far? Yes, there is. If you go down to the description, there should be a link to the game. The last release 0.07 was pretty stable, although it's it basically looks exactly the same as the current version, but the current version has a totally overhauled and refactored screen layer system. Nice, that's really nice and snappy. Yeah, so the performance improvement, even if you run it on a fast computer, like if I go like that, and then like that, so at this resolution, I'm starting to get a little bit of lag. And I think that this is a decent, it's like playable. I think it'll be desirable to play on a really wide resolution like this. And if you want to go even more, you can do that. And then at some point it'll crash, because in the game I have some assumptions for like the queue size. So at this resolution, it's starting to lag a bit. So I guess it's, the basic use case works. But I think being able to zoom out and see the bigger structures makes it more interesting. Well, it's really laggy. Do you have a video you can point me about the basics of program environments? I noticed you SSH'd into a remote machine. Is that on AWS or just a local machine? It's just a local machine. A video about basics of program environments. I'm not sure what do you mean by program environments. That could mean a lot of things. I mean, why didn't you build this in a container? I wonder if it would be less laggy if you decreased resolution. For the first question about building it in a container, I guess in order to distribute it, that might be one option. I know like the flat packs and stuff like that are those are popular with people. That might be. I don't have a lot of experience with like distributing production software, so there might be one mechanism or another that I probably should look into. I know the like app images and stuff. I've used app images for a few things. It's a convenient way to, instead of clogging your system up with stuff. At this point, it's only been like a handful of, dedicated people who've, I think, compiled it from source or what have you. But if there's increased demand to actually use it and play it, then I probably will have to think about that. Maybe containerization is the right thing. And it'd be less like if you decreased resolution when zooming out. So when zooming out, so it's a terminal-based game. So everything in the game is just text. So it's all running as like serial output and like ANSI escape sequences. So there's no such thing as pixels. Everything is text and emoji characters. So when it's like zoomed out, that's just making the font size very small. So the number of the terminal width in characters in columns increases, and then there's just more characters on the screen, so there's more calculations to do. Dolan Merville says hello. How's it going? All right, the test pass. There's got to be a way to do less calculations. Yeah, there's a lot involved in that. Actually, that's a lot of what I've been doing in the last 60 days or so that I've been working on this thing is just refactoring stuff and trying to. I had in the previous version for all the different like layers and threads and stuff like that. I had 6 different merge functions for different layers and different ways of writing to the screen, and I've consolidated all of that into just one single merge function with unified behavior. But the problem is packing so many features and stuff into one function made it complicated. But to kind of make it, to keep all the features, to keep it correct and keep it fast was quite a bit of work. But I'm nearing the end of that, or I'm basically at the end of it. So the next thing I want to do is run this with the profiler. So I have to compile it locally. I usually don't run it on this physical computer that's in front of me because it's an old laptop that's kind of slow. Just watching 1980. Welcome to the student tier. Alright, so let's do some CPU profiling. So I'm just going to, the help menu is one of the things that was fairly slow. So I'm just going to scroll up and down in this. And that'll generate some activity. All right, so most of the lag is caused from this thread. So apply occlusions is 48% of the time. The merge down is only 24 now. Wow, calculated occlusions is only 0.2. Wow, that's actually not expected. Are you doing Englishmanship? Why don't threads get lonely? Because they're always in a group chat. I guess it depends. Depends on the orchestration of the program. But I guess if they're some programs only have one thread though. The rec. Oh, sorry, I had trouble reading. The retractable cup holder just broke off the front of my Dell. Now where do I set my beer? Retractable cup holder. Off your computer? I mean the CD tray? I don't know of any computers that have a cup holder. That's a pretty advanced feature if they're making computers with cup holders now. That's one of the benefits of living in this highly technologically advanced future, though. So that's very good that this calculated occlusions function was the most time consuming function, but now it's not. And 42% of the time it's just spent here in this function. So from there to basically here. And also this part. Americans confuse laptops for cars, I guess. But that's what the consumer preference demands. You gotta work with it. Are Joe gonna put the optical drive, I think? Yeah, I assume the retractable DVD thing. I don't think I've used a DVD in a very long time. Actually, I bought a couple I think one of the last times I tried to buy a DVD off eBay, it had like degraded and it was having read errors, and then I put it in like, I tried rescuing it with DD Rescue, and there was like inconsistent read errors on it, where it wasn't just like, sometimes it's copy protection, but there were sectors where it would go back and it would try to like reread it like 50 times, and then on the 50th try it would successfully read. All right, that will allow me to see if to get feedback in the profiler about how much time something takes. I have to put it in its own function. I played around with a couple different profilers, but I can't find one that just gives me like a line by line attribution of like how much time everything's taken. So I haven't really changed anything, but apply occlusions was taking 48%. So we'll see if it changes much. I don't expect it to. When I rerun this, if these amounts have changed, then those changes are almost certainly related to just like the randomness of this experiment. Hubert Ow says Ubuntu. So you're a fan of Ubuntu? Or Ubuntu, or however you pronounce that? Alright, this time apply occlusions is 45%. I think it was 48% net last time. So that's basically the same. That's interesting. So even with pushing that out to a new function, yeah, it doesn't show up in the profiler. So I think it must mean it doesn't cause enough. It's not actually contributing enough to the time that it doesn't show up here. Interesting. Do you 3D print? I do not. I've had ambitions a few times about maybe buying a printer, but never got there, and it's not really on the horizon at the moment. What's the plan? In what context? Oh, yeah, relation to the title. I have a video on my channel called my Plans for World Domination. That has the whole plan spelled out in detail. Quick recap. Nah, too much work. So for some reason, the body of this function is taking 44% of the time. That's weird that this takes only 0.4. I almost don't believe that. That's so low. Good luck. Remember me when you're king of the world. Sure, I will. I'll write your name down. Just as long as I don't forget. I genuinely think people who use the terminal are geniuses. How do you understand it? It's a different kind of interface. Like, to be honest, like, this thing is a graphical application. It's almost like a completely different way of interacting with something. In a way, I could argue that it's actually like a dumber way to interact with things, because in this thing I have to like have knowledge and intelligence about where all the features are in here, and I have to understand them and stuff. But in the command line, like a graphical interface is very good for a human to do something one time, but a command line interface is good if you want to another computer program to do something like thousands or millions of times. So there's a lot of stuff where if you want to automate it, it can make sense to like learn what the command is, and you might spend like an hour figuring out what the command is to do something the first time you do it. But then the second time you do it, you already have the command. So like there's stuff I did, when I was first learning a bit more about the command line, it would take me like days to figure out like a script to like launch an instance and provision it and do this and do that and set up this stuff. But then once you have that script, like it's metaphorically a script, but it's literally a script, and you run the script, and then the thing that took you like days to figure out, it's 100% automated. Whereas if you have to come in and click stuff, and it'll take you can make mistakes, and you can go back and fix the mistakes, and properly format the OR. My like this OR condition. Is that what you're referring to by properly format the OR? If that's what you mean, I assume that would just be a syntax improvement. It wouldn't make it faster though. Perhaps that's where the efficiency drain is coming from. From where? From this statement? Could you check conditions in another order? Yeah, I probably could. To be honest, it probably would be slightly faster to do that check. Like it would probably short circuit evaluate to true faster. Like if this one is probably the most likely to be true, so that would short circuit the evaluation. But I'm just kind of like I'm doubting the almost doubting what I see in the profiler, because it says that these functions here, these are almost none of the time, and those are before that was the biggest source of slowness. And I'm not even sure what would be so slow in here. For this to be like literally half of the runtime, there has to be some specific problematic thing. I don't know, maybe it's all the branch conditions. Strata mesh says, hey, Robert. Some of these optimizations, I don't know if, like, I wonder if how many, what kind of impact these would even have. Because I assume the compiler is smart and can do a lot of fancy stuff. This is hard to optimize if I don't know where the slowness comes from. Now I was actually thinking I might be able to eliminate one of these variables, possibly. Thinking. I think I can get another decent optimization. Let's make sure I didn't break it. Nice. That looks not broken. That's good enough. but does it make it any faster? Ideally, to like really improve this, I need to make some like unit tests that are specifically time it, because the profiler is not really a reliable method. I don't expect big changes, but I'll just test this anyway to see what the difference is, if any. So then when I had apply occlusions was 45%. %, that was self-time. And the merge down self-time was 29. That's about the same. Yeah, there's no difference. I didn't expect a huge difference. All right, I'm going to try something that will eliminate one of the buffers. But first, I'm going to change this. that makes the tests fail. Game Dev Chad says, good evening. How's it going? Have you seen the NVM supply chain attack from yesterday? Quite big. Yeah, I think I saw it. I think I just saw a little bit of the. There was a Hacker News thread about it. I don't use. Like one of the reasons I went away from that whole ecosystem of like why I pivoted away from front end web dev is just the whole scene is just such a disaster. It seems like it's built on a house of cards. It's designed to be super insecure. I never really learned much. I learned enough about NPM to understand that it's just a disaster. Like trying to make a Hello World program. I remember in what year was that? Like 2016 or something, trying to make a Hello World program. I Google search for React.js Hello World npm, and then I find some blog post, try to follow the instructions. The instructions are already out of date. I'm like a fresh install, and it would come up with some error. It's like, oh, it looks like you're trying to do this thing on a repo that's like deprecated, but I was using like tools to just generate a basic template or something. Like I don't know what it was talking about. And then when I finally got it set up, it was like 300 megabytes of dependencies just to do React.js Hello World. So yeah, I'm not at all surprised that there are supply chain attacks. I'll have to see which which my deep dips are impacted. Yeah, I guess there's honestly the way open source works, I'm kind of surprised that like everyone doesn't get compromised more often. Okay, let's move one of the things. I thought you were the guy that told me how to make a CPU. I am that guy. First, you get a rock, then you smash the rock. It's that simple. When's the GPU tutorial? It's on the to-do list. I got a bunch of other stuff to do first. From the standpoint of security, it's bad. But no, not many companies can afford to build from the ground up. I think there just needs to be better, I don't know, supply chain management or just tools, like some better systems. I almost think there's a case to be made to say that like a lot of the development in writing software is integrating software and like verifying it and stuff. We almost need an ecosystem of people that don't even write software. They just like verify that the software does what it's supposed to. Because like if everyone was pulling from trusted signed sources and there was like verification and stuff, and it would minimize the impact of all this. Responded at 5 minutes after new version. I think they could delay publications, focus strongly on people who verify those packages. Yeah, I actually don't really understand the how the system works. So like I guess he published it to the repo or something. But does that push it, or does that just is that like when I do apt-get install something, I'm installing whatever's on the repo, and is that would effectively like, so if someone did npm install whatever within those 5 minutes, it would have been on their machine? Is that how it works? Apparently need third-party auditors issue public attestations, specific packages, like the big four accounting firms. But how to finance it? I think what we need ideally is like a model that works. Like people are already writing all these packages and stuff for free. I think there needs to be a better way to like conceptually quantify that work. And it would all have to be based on like trust networks. So there would be like a person, like Linus or something, Linus Torvalds. People would just, where you could transitively trust what another person trusts. So if you like, people could be really political and stuff. So people are like, I don't trust this person, so I'm gonna trust this person because they're super careful about everything, and then some people that just don't care, that like want to use a package but don't want to wait for someone else to audit it. And if you could have like a wide variety of trust labels on different objects. By the way, it's in npm ls / chalk template supports hyperlinks. It has NZ. Won't be that cool. It'll end up working like SSL. I think something that could be, I'm basically just restating what I said. There'll be a few authorities that the major package managers trust by default. And no one will ever change those settings. Yeah, I think the thing is, like, if you're a software developer and you write a piece of software, that's like it's a tangible work product. But the process of like verifying something, there's really no kind of artifact around. Maybe that's part of the problem. It's a problem of people need an identifiable like work product, because like let's say you spend 10 years building an amazing piece of software, you can point to the software and say like, I wrote this, it's in my repository. But if you spend years like auditing and testing a bunch of software, there's no it's just like a list of pass fail or something. If there's a better way to kind of I guess gamify it so that people would be interested in doing this type of work. Have you ever been ratted at your computer? Hacked growing up? Not that I know of. I mean, audit reports, deliverables for sure. But who's going to pay? Open SSL guys, barely make enough to live in London. Yeah, I think the question would be, like, open source. Like, someone is writing the open source software, and for every piece of software, there's like equivalent work. Like the writing of software is getting done. So that I think if there's a way to, I don't know, if you, like, imagine, like, there's like the concept of like bug bounty websites and stuff. Like, what if there was like an audit bounty website or something? Like, if you could just I don't know, if you could give people tips or something for, like, and I think if you did that all day, like, if your job was just wake up and just test software and see if it works, see if it compiles, like, it could not only be for like security, but also for a number of other stuff, like test performance and test. Because I guess if you're just testing to see if it does something or if it works or if it has some property, once you kind of automate the integration harness, that process is scalable. I don't know. Maybe there's well, if you could make a business idea out of it, maybe that would improve the ecosystem a bit. Because I'm sure people would probably pay. People probably wouldn't. People would be, I think, more likely to pay for software that they know is not full of like security problems. Like, just to know that someone put even just a basic stamp of approval on it. If you're a major consumer, you pay for an audit. Yeah. But what if you could, like, pay for a community audit or something? Why would you share the report? I guess some people would be okay with it, because I guess for depending on the software, like, it might not necessarily, if you let other people use the results of your audit of like a specific piece of software, then it doesn't really give your competitors an advantage. Audit would only be good for specific versions. Yeah, I'm just brainstorming. I don't know, maybe there's some way to solve it systemically. Initiative is like Bounty Castle, which is an open source collection of cryptographic algorithms. Just try to imagine how many backdoors can potentially be there. Most people who write open source software aren't evil. You could try approvals from trusted community members before a package is published. Yeah, I mean, historically, we've been through many years of peace where, like, the only people that do bad stuff are, like, you know, super antisocial, like the odd, you know, crazy person or something. But now that we're starting to go toward a world war, this is going to become increasingly problematic. There's a lot of open source implicit, or a lot of trust implicit in open source. I don't like those double negatives. All right, this is becoming more complicated, but this should reduce one of the variables. Big players have to get together, build a standard for publishing and sharing these trust statements. Get NPM and the rest to adopt. At the end of the day, the user experience would be just setting a trust level and your NPM RC. Yeah, I think if you made something that was like just like dumb and simple enough that like if you had some kind of model where it was like an absurdly badly designed but easy thing that like some university student somewhere, some like intern would come up with, where it's just like it's a JSON file with like a PGP signature or something, and then they're just like they start by copying and pasting around this JSON file or something. Or there's like you know, it could even be like people start pushing random commits to repos, and the commits in the repo are just like it's a SHA-256 hash of the zip file of the npm package or something, along with like a signature, and then on top of that someone just writes like a scraper that runs curl commands to like scrape these and download them and check if it's like the and check if there's a signature for a specific person for a specific hash. And something like that could be constructed easily. And then if enough people started doing stuff like that, just out of like, because it's a really low quality, it's like a quick, if it would have to evolve from like a quick and dirty hack that a bunch of people are just like, okay, this is terrible, but this is the easiest way to do this. And then eventually someone would be like, hey, there are thousands of people running curl commands to download like this really popular person's repo of signed statements or something. Because what happens in situations like that is like if someone does the work of this and it's really good, like you can imagine some maniac doing all this work himself, and then people be like, hey, that's great. Just steal that guy is publishing the work for free. Just like download that list of stuff, and they seem pretty passionate, so just trust everything they do. It's better than nothing. We need to incorporate additional security measures. Most Macs have secure enclaves for SSH keys. We also require signed commits. Yeah, I think user interface needs to be better. Like using PGP is like reading the man page is just I'm pretty confident like stuff like that. There's a very small number of people in the world that actually even understand how to use it properly. All right, that took me way longer than I thought it would to make that change. All right, it didn't crash. Now will it start failing tests? Oh, wow, fantastic. Excellent. All right, that should be a pretty good optimization. There's an app for macOS called Secretive. Instead of storing SSH keys in .ssh, it stores them in secure enclave, and you can't retrieve them. Dead simple, however, it's not popular, unfortunately. Yeah, I think a big part of it is so much of the stuff is it's hard to find good explanations of it, of like the model of the keys and signing and stuff. I guess like signing and conceptually signing is like we say the word signing, everyone knows what it means to sign a piece of paper, but like to mathematically cryptographic signatures are like people don't know what that means. It's just confusing to them. And then other aspects like when I turned on sign commits, and I started making like I signed the jars, and then release that when I do a release of this game. And I found it even for me to learn to understand the information I was looking at, like when I would for example, actually I have an example of exactly that in the README. Yeah, so I put this message here because it says the output should look something like this. So this is the state of the user friendliness of this. So you go to verify the signature, and like this is most important really for noobs. So it says, so it's fine, the signature is fine when it says warning in big capital letters, warning, exclamation mark. This key is not certified with a trusted signature. There is no indication that the signature belongs to the owner. So when you see that, like to understand, like, what does that mean? Is that good? Is that bad? What do we do with this information? You might look at this and think, okay, it's like the signature was bad. It's like, it's a hacker has modified this so it doesn't pass the signature or something. But it, from what I understand, it's within your own like key system. You have not not certified with a trusted. So it's like, I think, an explicit operation that you personally have to do within your like key ring to say I bless this piece of information. Because I when I was doing this, I did mess around, and I found out if I can. So if I trust the key, then to me, it will say that it's like highest trust level or whatever, and this warning will go away. But that's only when it's like, I forget the exact thing. It has to be like imported into keyring, and then you have to trust it or something. But for any other random person who didn't do that operation, they'll see this. I mean, the whole thing is just it almost looks like it's optimized to look cool and hacker-esque rather than. I mean, it makes sense. It's like it's real cryptography and stuff, but if we want normal humans to use it, it has to be more. Like the messages and stuff have to be more clear. And I'm also pretty convinced that even probably most people who use this don't really understand it very well. All right, let's check out the latest performance. So we had 45 was the last one there. right, let's see what the breakdown is, if it's changed. Right, apply occlusions is now 52%. That's weird. It's almost like it's almost like it's not. It's not like attributing properly or something. Because I moved that runtime into this function, but it's still measuring at 0.2. But this one is going, its parent has gone up. Yeah. Kind of, it's almost inconclusive. Intuitively, I'm pretty sure that that change is going to make it faster, but I really need like a benchmarking test. Fair enough. I have a lot of cryptographic experience. The point is you configure the machine properly, then GitHub won't let you publish commits if they're not from you. Imagine a system in which publication of packages require four approvals of merge domain. Now you need to tamper with 4 people. Possible, but it's much harder. "13 hours ago, someone that got access to my account could do anything." Yeah. I think. Wait, is that a bug? Oh, that's that thing. Yeah, what I would imagine is like a like a trust web configuration system or something. So if you want to have like, if you want to do git push, and then just say like have it, propagate out as far as you want. Like surely it should be possible to have it go through like automatic scanners and stuff. I don't know. Maybe that happens in this case or something. Like I don't know if it was possible for it, some like scanner tool to flag this and as a part of the rollout process. Like it should, if you push something that has malware in it, that should get flagged and not propagated. But of course, I guess that just ups the arms race. You're gonna have the bad guys who are gonna probably use AI to figure out how to obscure it and stuff. But yeah, you can still do empirical tests. Like you can run it. You can run the software automatically in a VM or something. And it can like monitor network traffic for a day or something. So if it's, and I guess you could probably scan binaries and stuff for like, if it just contains, if it calls certain function like open a socket or something, but it's actually some like, math algorithm. It's a math algorithm, a mathematical algorithm is not supposed to open new sockets and stuff. Actually, that is pretty smooth. I think I tested that. Let me just test it again. Okay, there's another optimization I can do. Which is I can collapse those two variables. I wish I'd be in your pocket one day. I only worth your nail. I don't know what that means. So what I can do is just delete that actually. By the way, at the end of this month, I'm publishing an app for mastering programming languages. Would you give me your opinion on the idea? What do you think about an app for learning new method types, new constructors? I guess what I think about it would be I guess the first thing I think about when people propose ideas like that is what is the objective? I think it's very important to accomplish your objective. If the objective is to make money, the answer I'd give you is different from if it's just like about kind of like learning and testing the waters and kind of more just for fun, or like a resume builder or something. I'd say if it's to make money, that's a very competitive market. It's going to be exceedingly difficult to make money making an app doing that, unless it's like really amazing. And in addition to that, also marketing is going to be your biggest challenge. Personally, I actually don't use a lot of mobile apps. So I'm not necessarily a great person to ask about the mobile app industry, but I know I think a lot of the platforms kind of like pick. You said it's an app. Is it a mobile phone app? Spent 1,500 hours. My main objective is to do something useful, but I will try to monetize that. that's a decent amount of hours to put into something to have come up with a decent, high quality product. So what you said, it's mobile app. It'll also be available on desktop. Yeah, I would say building stuff like that is a lot of work. It might even make sense, like if you want to optimize growth and financial success, it might even make sense to focus specifically on one platform and then grow the user base there rather than support multiple ones. Yeah, I guess honestly, most of the advice I would have is probably has nothing to do with the actual learning programming languages and stuff part, more about the kind of the business economics of it. I find out most apps of this kind focus on beginners, while I made sure to focus on actual programmers. Yeah, I think that's what you do if you want to do something, if you want to build something that's useful. Honestly, I think that's kind of a perfect example of how these app stores, the model behind them, because in a way it's almost like they figured out a trick. A lot of these phones, they don't come with a lot of software, so they basically, yeah, it's almost like they're subcontracting building the actual operating system to people who build apps. And so it's almost like you're close to working for free for the people that build the app stores and the app companies. And I think they pick and choose a small number of representative applications to actually get really any traffic, because if it's in an app store, yeah, I would say that's probably a decent place to focus on. I bet if you do a bunch of Googling, you'll probably go down a rabbit hole of what is the single most important metric to get your app recommended in the app store, and to get it shown to people and stuff. And there's questions asked I'm not sure if you have a free or a paid thing or something like that, but there might be something where, because the app stores want to make money, if you make it free, that might make it do worse than if you charge money for it. I don't know if that's true, but that would be an important question to ask, and that would depend on the mobile platforms. And those have changed a lot over the years. I don't really know what the latest is on them. App is written in Flutter. It was one of the best tools of this kind of app. Interesting. I'm not even familiar with Flutter. I've also spent a lot of times on aspects like marketing plan, go-to-market strategy, Read a lot of books. Okay. So you're that's that puts you way ahead of many other software developers. You probably know it's very hard to make an app which solves a problem for which user is willing to pay. Yeah. Honestly, I actually don't really use apps. I kind of barely use my phone at all. I guess I'm not traveling much, so that's kind of one of the reasons why. I'm actually not a good person to ask about what the current state of the app ecosystem is. Back in like 2000, I worked for a company in Toronto that actually built apps. Their business model was like banks and stuff would come to them and say like, give me an app. That was when there was like a land rush for every company to, everyone was building an app for everything and stuff. And you could make like, I don't know how much the company made, but they probably get like paid, $40,000 to make an app for a bank or something, or probably outrageous amounts like $100,000. And that was just an internship. And even back then, it was a super unstable environment. Like sometimes we couldn't even start developing because the emulator didn't exist yet, so we had to wait for the emulator, and it was all full of bugs. And I'm young, and I think in the long run, it'll be a much better idea than being many years in the same company. Yeah, is this like your primary entrepreneurial focus, your primary revenue source? Like you're working on it full time? I guess the other follow-up question is if you have revenue, or like if you have some if you've done any kind of initial release or. Nice, that works. No crashes. But yeah, I think if you're thinking about the marketing aspect of it, that's good. A lot of software developers would just kind of go in a room and they write code, and then they release it, and they're like, "Here it is, world. Come and get my product." And then nobody cares, and then they get $0 in sales. I've been working for the software house. We've been doing projects for startups. Want to take a break from career, focus on R&D project that interests me and personal life. Yeah, I think it's a good idea, as long as you have like like some finite as long as you have like a finite vision for how much work to put into it. Because even sometimes, like even if you make a thing and then you release it and like only 10 people use it and you make $1 in revenue, you will still learn an immense amount about like like the process of releasing the app into the App Store, like production releases and the marketing considerations that go into it and all that kind of stuff, which will of course help you out in your career if you end up actually working for a company that needs to leverage all that stuff, and that company has a huge marketing budget. Then suddenly all that knowledge becomes useful. Last project was a startup which many millions of euro in funding. They didn't get the business model. Yeah, the business model's important. If you don't have that right down pat, then it's not going to work out for you. Learned a lot about product release cycle, product market fit. As of now, talking with potential users. Yeah, it sounds like you're doing all the right avenues of investigation to set you up for real startup success someday. Have you? It's worth looking into. Y Combinator has a bunch of lectures and stuff. Have you heard about Y Combinator? There's some talks by. They have tons of talks. Probably. I don't know. I guess I haven't watched a lot of the newer ones, but I can remember some of the older ones. Actually, I think they have a series. I think it's called How to Start a Startup. They have a lecture series. Been hearing their lectures weekly. Yeah, there's the series. They have a series by Peter Thiel. Talked in one. I don't know. They might have had Mark Zuckerberg in one. Older ones are much better. Yeah. Yeah. The one that I'm thinking about, How to Start a Startup, is. That might be approaching like 10 years old now or something. Another thing to think about, though, is the world is changing. And specifically, something that might not be indicated in those lectures is the zero interest rate era is over. And like if you want to get super macroeconomic about things, the like interest rates are increasing in the UK. Their bonds are getting more pricey and stuff, which sounds kind of disconnected from startups, but it's a not in a really significant way. So like the amount of frivolous venture capital money that was running in at a lot of these companies, like a lot of these companies where it's sometimes easy to be accidentally successful, and it's like the trickle down money that comes from things like when investors are doing experiments, they don't care if something is sustainable. What they're doing is they're trying to figure out, like, is this sustainable? Like a lot of the money that's going into AI right now, a lot of that money, like there's some people that have, business models and stuff that are set up for serving AI companies, and they're probably making insane amounts of money now. But it takes like their revenue is probably coming from investors burning cash to learn is whatever they're doing profitable or not. In someone like 6 to 12 months or something, the investor is going to come back and look and see, oh, this is not sustainable. So we're going to pull the plug on this and shut this down. And like actually, I mean, one example is one of the things I tried back in the day was, this is, I think, a particularly poignant example of this. I tried testing out selling stickers on Kickstarter just to see like programming command line theme stickers or something, and that actually made like a few $100. And I just tried like bouncing around the pricing on the sticker packs, and I remember I had one that was it was outrageously expensive. I thought it was like I put like $70 something on it for this like huge package of stickers, and I actually got a sale from it, and the stickers were not even like great. And the company that bought it, the email that bought it was actually some venture capital firm, and I think there was just, one of them was browsing Kickstarter and was like, I'll just buy these stickers for no reason, or to like probably to just test out the platform or something. And I think it was the same one that went bankrupt when their bank pulled all the funding or something like that. And it's the kind of thing that like you would not I would not expect any consumer to pay that much money for these low quality stickers that I was making, but because when times are good, there's investors throwing around less cash, and things are different now. Regarding 0%, I've got leverage, so I don't need much resources to keep it going. These kinds of mobile app are not capital intensive. I think my idea is not venture capital business. That has its own advantages. But I point out the thing about like the zero interest rate era, because that not only affects you if you're raising, which as you indicated you're not, but it also affects the revenue prospects you have, because like the tech ecosystem is very sensitive to that. If there's money, it's hard to kind of attribute where it comes from, but like you have to think about the whole ecosystem. Like, for example, if you make an app amongst 1,000 other apps that are all venture capital backed, there's a lot of money sloshing around that system. So if those other like 1,000 people you're quote unquote competing with, if those are all venture capital backed, and they're like paying mass amounts of money, paying millions of dollars to get advertising, there's going to be tons of that money, which ultimately is coming from investors that Apple is taking, or the platform's taking. And so it's profitable for the App Store to like promote certain apps. And so if the ecosystem is on fire, if there's tons of money coming into it, you can kind of like, it's like being in a small boat where the whole ocean, like it's like, I guess the probably good metaphor is like, if you imagine going into a system of locks like the Panama Canal, and you're going through the Panama Canal with a giant container vessel, and you're just in this tiny little rowboat on the side of it, and if you come in right at the right time, you can come in through the lock system. You're going to get pulled up when they fill it up and if you're not observant enough, you might attribute that success. You'd be like, wow, I'm so special and important that they filled up the lock system to let me through. But actually it's just because you were in the right place at the right time, and like all the boats are getting lifted at the same time. I think that's I think people underestimate how big that effect is. And if you want like real success, you can also invert that. So you can say, where is money going? Where's the dumb money going? And if you can just be in that place, then you might, be able to squeeze in through the lock system. But yeah, and I mentioned that because a lot of the older Y Combinator things, I think that it's better, but the quality of the information is better, but it's also kind of anachronistic because it's not designed for like there's a few variables that have changed. Jimbotron. Hey Rob, how do I become a successful YouTuber like you? Honestly, I'm not that successful. I'm looking over some of my finances. I really need to get some more money coming in soon. The YouTube revenue is down. It's weird. It was doing very well at the start of the month. It looked like this was going to be things were going to be going up, but then it just like tanked, and it's like way below the trend this month. Probably because I haven't put any long form videos out in a while. Don't you think that in the long run, going for the investors' money is not the good way to go? Well, I guess it depends. It depends how, like how direct you mean. Whether you mean like the venture capital way or, like it is, if there's an opportunity, if there's money sloshing around somewhere and you're in the right place at the right time, then it can be, it can be the wind at your back. But like, for example, there's a lot of money going into AI right now. So that's why it makes sense. I mean, they say if in a gold rush, you want to be selling shovels, not digging for gold. So I don't encourage like just follow the fad, but if you maintain awareness about where there's a lot of money sloshing around, like if you want to make money, you have to go in a place where money exists, and there's always some amount of there's always some like economic focus. Because like if you start a business on something where it's completely dead and no one's investing in it, it's going to be if the pool is small to begin with, you're immediately limiting the upper bound. Whereas you can see that you have like 150k subs. The amount of subs doesn't necessarily translate to really anything. It's all about the views. The views are the important part. Actually, I have 150k subs, but if you look at my live streams, have been trending down lately. But that's not too surprising because they're kind of boring. But I'm going to finish this next release and then change things up a little bit. All right, just finished a variable rename. Regarding YouTube, there's some videos which deeply resonate with people. You could do these videos more often. Yeah, I would like to. I need to just get more stuff done. I'm too slow. In my opinion, you should do a series that has an underlying motive. Yeah, currently I'm actually doing a. Well, my last video was on jobs, and I said I'd do another video for the 5%, and I'm currently working on honoring that commitment. So as of today, I'm 47% finished the editing of that video, and I'm hoping maybe by the end of the week I can get that released. I guess my habit is, my natural tendency is to come back and try and like revise the script and just polish it up a bit more. I have done a few more just like kind of personal talking videos and stuff, but those ones don't get as many views. And I keep coming back to the the observation that if I make the video like 10% better, that can like potentially double the addressable audience. But it's hard. Some of the videos that I put a lot of work into get lots of views, and then some of them kind of just bomb. But in those cases, I put the work into it. I don't see the return. When I first saw a video many months ago, never felt this kind of truthfulness. Yeah, it was definitely a video from the heart. I was coming back from the dentist visit, and it like started raining that day, and I like just missed the bus, so I got to wait for the bus and for the longest amount of time. And I was like, this is such a miserable situation. I could probably make an interesting video out of this. Maybe it'll be interesting enough that it'll get some views. And it worked. Sorry to put this here. Been using Linux for some time. Learned some Bash. But now I feel like I'm stuck. I have no understanding of the underlying architecture. How do you get better? In terms of like understanding all of Linux, I don't think there's anyone who understands like everything about how the Linux kernel is structured. I would say if you haven't like a pretty good way to digest a bunch of to like learn what concepts exist. If you haven't watched my I have a playlist on my channel for my favorite Linux command, and if you watch, there's like over 120 shorts videos, and if you watch all of those, that'll expose you to like a lot of different kind of core aspects of like things you can do, like some of the permissions and stuff. And once you know about those, that can kind of direct you to the further research. You enjoying the other side of entrepreneurial struggles? And it's not very common. Yeah, there's a lot of I guess there's a lot of I don't know. There's lots of like fake it till you make it stuff. There's kinds of various different categories of there's some people who just like so in the population there's like crazy people and non-crazy people, and like most non-crazy people, if they try to do a business and it doesn't work, they'll just be like, oh, I guess I'm not cut out for this, and then they stop doing it. But then there's the crazy people kind of manifest in a bunch of different ways. You get like people who just like lie, or people who are kind of like pathologically positive about things, and they always try to reword things, and like a perfect example is people saying like I made $1 million when they produced $1 million in revenue and not profit, but they don't indicate that they spent $1.1 million to produce that $1 million in revenue. The creative domain, there's a Pareto principle. People are unaware of the dark side of risk. Imagine your interview with Jordan Peterson and other creators. Would you be willing to share your story? Yeah, I don't know. I think the what I put out there speaks for itself. It's got 1 million views, so a decent number of people saw it. All right, let's test this. One more time. All right, that says 49%. Because I don't know if that's much better. Because if I made it faster, I'd probably focus on this one. So I think that does a lot of memory allocations. Million views. Yeah, once it hit 1 million, it kind of seemed to slow down. It it abruptly slowed down. I kind of hoping it would start trending again because it brought in a decent amount of ad revenue. 07 EDIM says hello. Should I pull an all-nighter? Probably not. Do you have a reason to pull an all-nighter? I find usually, in my experience, if you if you have to do something, if you're getting less than, if you would get less than 4 hours sleep, then sometimes it can make sense. So I found that sleeping less than 4 hours is almost like not sleeping at all. Poland, we have 6:30 a.m. right now. I'm already after all-nighter. Better go for some sleep. Yeah, you mentioned you're in Poland. That's good. Poland is, from my understanding of news and stuff like that, it seems like Poland is, if I was to pick a place to be, I'd pick a random place to be where things are on the up and up. I think Poland is a decent, spent a lot of investment in high-tech stuff there over the last decade. I, on the other hand, have slept for a bit more than 4 hours. Poland has good chocolate. That's a good bonus too. Oh, you two know each other? It's a small world. Okay, I think that's all for the optimizing that I'm going to do. It is still a little bit laggy on this machine, but this is the crappy old laptop. Girlfriend's brother has been in your country 2 weeks ago. It's beautiful. Yeah, it is pretty beautiful in the fall. I guess it depends on where you are. It's a big country. Some places are more beautiful than others. We have like almost every single landscape here. Did you notice a performance change when you turned off logging? Honestly, it probably would make it a lot faster. One of the optimizations I did, there's a couple log statements I didn't really need. I commented those out. Regarding living in Poland, as I've been traveling more, I've started to appreciate my country. West had a big bet on uncontrolled immigration. It turned out not so good. Yeah, and we're still doing it too. Very decent place to live in. But it has its flaws. Yeah, I hope we can have at least a few good places to live. It's good to know that if things go south where you are, that there's always some better place to go to. I mean, that runs pretty good. I think this is I think this is a decent release. I was kind of concerned that I wasn't going to be able to get the performance back with the new layer merging method. Actually, let's do that's all messed up. Salaries are lower. At that point, don't have much space to raise. If my project won't work out, I'll consider going for work outside Poland. Been working for a Switzerland startup as Polish contractor. People from Germany were making 2 or 3 times more at that time. Yeah, hopefully it works out. Yeah, hopefully the world remains stable enough with all the, I guess, Poland, you're way up there in the Baltic states. So you're close enough to Russia to be kind of in the danger zone up there. All right, that's working pretty good. I guess it's all compressed on the stream. Well, I'll probably leave it there for tonight. I accomplished what I wanted. I think that's it for the optimizations. I guess next stream I'll probably just do some more playtesting, and then I think it's ready to release. Are people starting to ask you to build their terminal app? Not yet. My company has many Polish and Ukrainian engineering teams. Used to be Russia as well. Yeah, there's a lot of really good tech talent that comes out of Ukraine and Poland. team from the Balkans. All right, well, that'll be it for tonight. I guess we'll be back tomorrow for day 138. All right, talk to you later, guys.